Dreamscape presents Saving Noah by Lucinda Berry, narrated by Carrington Macduffie. 1. Noah being charged as a sex offender sucker-punched our entire suburban community. Child molesters were adults, dirty old men who lured children into their cars with promises of candy and treats. They weren't A honor roll students who ran varsity track and went to mass every Sunday. I still cringed inside every time I said it, but our nightmare was finally about to be over. Noah was getting out of the Marsh Foundation in 3 weeks, and I'd counted every day that he'd been gone until he could come home again. I pulled 2 of his boxes out of the garage before my husband Lucas got home, hoping their presence would force him to talk about Noah's homecoming. I put them in a neat stack next to the couch, but when he walked into the living room, he skirted around them as if they weren't there, just like he dodged anything related to Noah. After he tucked our youngest, Katie, into bed, he planted himself in front of the TV with the remote control in one hand and his phone in the other, shifting his attention back and forth between the 2 screens. I stared at him from the kitchen, trying to muster up the strength to approach him. He wasn't classically handsome, but he'd always been attractive to me. The dimples in both cheeks made him look playful despite his khaki pants and buttoned-up shirt. He was 6 feet tall, with a leanness that passed as athletic years ago, but decades working in an office had taken a toll on his body. His muscles had begun to sag, and the bulge hanging over his belt grew more and more pronounced each year. I took a deep breath before heading into the living room to join him. I plopped down on the couch next to him and did my best to appear relaxed. I crossed and uncrossed my legs, rearranged the magazines on the coffee table, and wiped away imaginary crumbs as I worked up the nerve to bring up the subject he continually avoided. I took another deep breath. "Do you think we could talk?" I asked. He stared at the screen in his hand without looking up. "Sure." "About Noah." His body stiffened the same way it did each time I mentioned his name. "What's there to talk about?" he asked. There was no way he didn't know Noah was getting out soon, no matter how hard he tried to remain oblivious to what was happening with his case. "Come on, Lucas. Don't be difficult." "I'm not being difficult. What's there to talk about?" "Maybe the fact that your son is getting out of treatment in 3 weeks, and we haven't discussed what we're going to do about it?" "You already know how I feel about it."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?